forward over the next, well, I was going to say a couple of months, but the next couple of months and leading up into the next couple of years, this is going to be a time of movement. This is going to be a time of movement in your life where you let go of what is no longer serving you, that's not making your life happy, and about looking at what it is that you do want to do. And what they're saying is some of you even might wish to, if you're on a training course or looking at studying, that you may even think about switching over or having the thought of, is this the right course for me? It may be also a time of many people looking at studying and learning more, that their minds now want to be activated and to learn more. And it's going to be very much a time of what I'm hearing, that connecting to those who really understand you, connecting to those individuals where you can connect to. So it's going to be more of that communication, coming out, communicating more with others, being aware of how wanting more social activities to some degree, but being aware of when you do enter into those social gatherings that some may not fit where they fit before. They may not feel as comfortable, those individuals, the friends that you might have had, the family members. It might need switching around, changing, and that's what I'm hearing very clearly. The big change on the planet at the moment is so that people become more aware of what they do want in their life, and so that you become more awoken to what it is that you want, and that you're serving your soul. That your soul now is able to lead you, to guide you forward. And what that means is, when I say that, it just means your higher self. It means connecting now to those feelings of what it is that you truly want. So it's about a skill of developing that skill of being able to connect to what it is that your heart sings for, what your heart truly wants at this time. It's not so much about your head, it's about allowing your heart to guide you, because your heart is the bridge that connects you to your soul. And by having that connection of really feeling into it, of what you really do desire, your heart truly desires, means you're in your soul, means you're working with that energy, means you're connected. And by doing that, by connecting to your soul and working with your soul purpose, being aware of your life purpose, sort of reaching into your soul and asking for direction, asking for the signs that your soul can direct you, that your soul can step forward and show you your life purpose. That the more people that are in tune with your purpose, why you're here, that you become more aligned, that you become awoken to what it is that you're meant to be doing on the planet, whether it's serving others, helping as a therapist, or providing a service to others, or providing a listening ear to others, or offering guidance to others. But it's about how you then can serve your community. And when Spirit says this, they mean the community is the planet of other people, that then you can then shine your light on the world. So it's about the beacons. They're showing me beacons of light around the world, that each and every one of you who connects to your soul purpose, who aligns to what feels right for you. So always living in, or as much as you can, because they just said they know what humans are like, but being as much as you can in the present moment, by not allowing your mind to wander off in the fear or what if, but by allowing yourself to try and be as much as you can in the present moment. That will allow you then to be aligned to your soul and to light up like a beam of light. And then you'll start becoming aware of those around you will begin to change. You may become aware of how you may not feel comfortable with some people's, how they think about things, how they see the world. And then you might start shifting out of those old friendship groups into then inviting new people into your life. And it will just gradually start happening, where people who are interested in what you are interested in will start coming into your life. And when you are then serving your life purpose, and you are connected more to your heart rather than your head and in fear, you'll find that things begin to flow a lot better. So energy begins to flow, which just means the job you might apply for, you end up reaching out, that job comes closer. You might start thinking about how you'd like to connect to people that are more like-minded, and you bump into somebody. You might want to think about, if you're a therapist, about clients, or in your job you want to make changes and the right job comes in. But it's about you first looking about finding your own balance and being open, so that then you, when you're living from your heart, not focused on the fear within your mind, you'll start seeing the difference in your life. It starts changing. And when you do that, it ends up being a ripple effect of energy around others who become more aware of how you've begun to change, and start feeling how your energy, how you begin to feel much happier in your own skin. And then you start helping others. By you serving your purpose, by doing what feels right for you, you will have that knock-on effect to others around you. And you become a magnet for those who want to connect with you and then reach out for help. Really a time of your past needing to look at those individuals, what's been brought up, they are connected to your past. Now, 2 clients yesterday I had, it was very much about past lives. Now, individuals may or may not believe this about past lives. It depends on how you're feeling about it. But when we traced it back, there was one about ancestral links, that a repeating cycle that's going over in her family. And it was about looking at that repeating cycle in your individual family, what is being played out. And it was very much of how her mother had treated her, very much about her mother's journey. We looked into the energy, going down the ancestral lines of looking at her mother's family background and her mother's journey, and through the mother's journey of then how it still had repercussions in this woman that was sitting in front of me yesterday, and what it was bringing up for her, and what it was demonstrating, what it was showing her. And through her relationship with her mother, how also it affected her relationship with partners in her life. And through those partnerships in her life, she now has got to the stage, I think she was 50s or 60s, but it's got to the stage that she's realised that there needs to be change. And by us addressing the layers of the situation that was happening for her, the emotional, the physical, because we know the emotional self, the physical layers of our self is affected. So physical body, our physical ailments, our physical, if we're holding tension in our body, we know if we have something that is causing us issues to be angry at or stress, our body is interpreting it, our body feels it, our body produces those chemicals. It's a physical thing. So our body can feel those ailments. I've had clients who've had back issues and shoulder issues and neck issues because of stress to do with work or relationships or moving or whatever's going on for them in their life. So the physical self actually feels it. And when we looked at her life, her body was feeling, there was many, many layers of herself from the physical, emotional side of her that held on to it. But by stripping back some of those layers, afterwards, she had this light bulb moment of thinking, oh my gosh, she understood an issue that was happening for her and knew then it became clearer, sort of, it shone a light on the direction moving forward for her. It was a real light bulb moment, and it helped her. Now, what I'm hearing from Spirit, that's very much what's happening at the moment. People are going to have this time, like this wave at the moment of us looking at our lives, where we are at, and making some changes. But it's a time not to make those changes at this particular moment. It's more about contemplation of the realization of what it is that needs to change, how to move forward. But it's really about the links from our past. So whether it's a past life, as I said, I had one client, we realized this relationship that keeps repeating itself on a cycle from the partner that she had. We realized that looking at a past life, it was very much connected to an old situation going all the way back. And what it was doing was showing her about her it was looking at it from an opposite, so it was like a mirror, and it was showing her about her financial independence and about how she was able then to break away, and that what it was having it in this lifetime, again repeating itself, was literally, it was just showing her the opposite. It was showing her that she doesn't need to be financially dependent upon this individual. It was trying to teach her how to be strong. And that's how Spirit works. They bring you to a situation which keeps coming up, but they want you to look at it, the mirror. What's the opposite of what is sort of bringing up for you? So instead of feeling the fear, it's more about uncovering that. Where's that fear? What's going on for you? And showing you as a mirror to sort of say, what is it that then this could be teaching you? And I know I've done that with a couple of clients recently, and it's been a real breakthrough, aha moment in helping them to release, to let go. And when I then have said to them, this is about showing you more about gaining strength, showing you that you can be strong in this lifetime that's been repeated in many lifetimes, but in this lifetime where you are at as a female, that you no longer need to be reliant upon this male's money. And I also then had another gentleman that I had, one of my clients yesterday, that he felt stuck in his relationship again. See, relationships are a big one right now. Stuck in his relationship because he felt through his own cultural background that it was a karmic lesson he had to learn, that being in this unhappy relationship, he felt that he needed to suffer, that he must have done some wrong to the individual from a past life, because this is his cultural belief. And also, if we look from the spiritual angle and the energy of how individuals see this. But what I was shown by Spirit was very much so. It was about, if anything, what was it teaching you? And what was it teaching you that you could then show your children? Because they had to see from what you were going through, that if you can teach them something, what is it that you can teach them right now in their life so they don't go on to repeat the same thing? And Spirit really came through to show that to him. So by him being aware of that, he had again a light bulb moment and realised that he said to me, oh my God, I thought it was the other way around, that I needed to be in this relationship, that I'd done some harm to this individual. I needed to stay in this relationship. And if anything, Spirit was saying to me, no, you need to move out of this relationship. It's about you also teaching the other person, his partner, that they needed to be strong. They needed to stand on their own 2 feet. And you were dishonouring them by allowing them to repeat the same cycle again and again and again, repeating it. So when he finished with me, and what Spirit was saying was very much about, it's the opposite. So look at what's being presented to you. And very this right now. So it feels like you're in the middle, this transitional stage, this period of your life that wanting to move forward. And I would say that what I'm hearing also is that some fearful of moving backwards. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I need to say that too. So who needs to hear that? You're not going to move backwards, but it's like as if that, okay, thank you, they're giving me a hill. So it's like as if you, thank you. Yeah, it's like stopping for a breather going up a hill. So it's like literally you're stopping for a breather, you're holding your space, you're standing still, you're just trying to catch your breath right now, in the sense of not knowing, still 100% sure, or the uncertainty of where it is you need to move forward to, or to new projects or new ideas or into new situations. But you're sort of halfway up that hill and you're just taking a breather right now. Okay, and what I need to say is it's okay. Okay, thank you. So sorry, I've got a guide that's come in and sort of just said to me, it's because humans, thank you, yeah, that makes sense. Humans doubt themselves. So humans with the human fear factor, human doubt in themselves, okay, thank you, where their mind churns over so much, they sort of get themselves stuck. So it's a fear of, is that really going to work out? Is that really the direction I want to be going in? Is that really what I want to do? Am I really going to do okay with it? So getting sort of stuck in that fear, and also, oh thank you, they just said to me, and also not knowing 100% where they're going to end up. And they want to say that this is not about you, that you must know as humans that it's not always where you must have your end goal. Have a rough idea in the direction that you feel that you are being pulled into, and by being pulled into that direction, by aiming in that direction, you end up moving towards that area. But okay, thank you. They said, but you must be flexible. So let me see what okay. So they bring me like a river flowing down the side of, okay, thank you, a hill or a mountain, and how it turns. So it knows, thank you, it knows it's got to come all the way down. Gravity will pull it down to the end. So it knows roughly where it's going. That's roughly in that area it's going to end up, because it's working with nature and it's heading that direction. But what they're showing me is okay, thank you. They say crevices, that's what they're saying, the crevices and the boulders, and of course, okay, thank you, every day changes. So as if there was a storm one day and then it's sunny another day. It's like how that river, that water will formulate, and how that spring and how it moves down. So it changes. So what they're saying, basically, that's the image they're giving me. It's about being flexible to where it takes you. So, okay, thank you. They just said to me, instead of having a fixed goal or thinking that's exactly where I'm going to go or that's exactly how it's going to work, you then becoming flexible. And just like, oh, there can be loads of images tonight, just like a sapling, a tree with the posts, you can snap in the wind. You've got to learn to be flexible. So however you feel you start out and you roughly wanted to move in a direction, you've got to allow yourself to, okay, thank you, outside factors that they're obviously going to bend you a little bit to make you become flexible, whether you like it or not. And it's your job to allow yourself to be as flexible as you can. Okay, thank you. They sort of said, but by taking that breather, that when you take that breather, instead of forcing something, that you allow it naturally just to take a moment in time, so that then you allow things to unfold much more gently for you. Some of you rush too fast. Some of you can become quite frustrated that you don't see where that end goal is going to be or how to get there. Or, thank you, they said to me, not have a map, instructions. That's not what you come with to some degree. Okay, thank you. They just turned and said, but I get what they're saying now. So what they said is that, you know, by connecting to your higher self, you learn then what your purpose is and the direction you need to go off to. And okay, let's have a see where they're going with that. Okay, thank you. They just said to me, so when you take your breather, when you take time out, when you are sort of trying to travel up that hill to get to that where you need to get to, and they say hill because humans make things so complicated. If humans were more flexible, it wouldn't be a hill that you had to travel up and it being hard work. It would be a flat surface and you'd be able to walk it gently and you get to where you want to go to. But they said, with most humans, they make life so much more difficult for themselves by bringing up all the fears and everything, and all the entanglement of relationships and experiences, that they get stuck and they make it going up a hill. So when you take a breather, and at this moment they say many of you must learn to take a breather, must stop, must work with a transitional period, then that way it becomes a lot easier. So they're saying, thank you, they said this. So in this transitional period of time, it's really about you learning in this transitional period of time about you are transforming, you are changing, life is changing for you, and that to work with it, not against it, pulling or pushing. And they're saying that this is the time really where it's the time to really learn to start to connect more. Thank you. Connect more with your inner self. So inner self as in feeling into it more, as in how, thank you, they just said, how you're doing, how are you doing? Now when they just said, how you doing, they just gave me Friends and that guy, Joey, how you doing? I can't say it, but this is what they just brought to me in a sense of how you doing right now. Is to check in with yourself, how you're doing. Ah, I got it. So by checking in how you're doing, where are you feeling what you're feeling? If there's anxiety, there's stress, you might just be at the stage where you're just feeling quite mellow and comfortable. It just depends on what's going on for you as an individual, but it's checking in how you're doing right now. And what's been revealed to you? What are you being shown right now? If there are fears, worries, anxieties, money, relationships, jobs, basically the normal regular things as humans worry about. If there is something going on for you, check in why and what's it showing you, what's it teaching you. A lot of humans, they just run away from fear. And it's if they just say, it's impossible, you can't run it very far away from yourself because you are yourself, you're in yourself. So that's why you get this entanglement of fear and you can't run away. They just show me like someone trying to escape their own self. Oh, thank you. Then I've just had another guy join me and just said, oh, but you can escape yourself for a moment with meditation. That's what he just said. When you surrender, when you allow yourself to fully engage with this other side, as in, let's say, sort of a spiritual awakening, alignment, and this awareness, and really allowing yourself to be in the flow of it, surrendering to the fact of the human mind, the chitter chatter of saying, does this really exist? Am I really just here, or is there another dimension? What do I believe in? And is there really a higher consciousness? And I had someone even today sort of saying to me they felt they were going crazy because since they started meditating, they sort of feel that I really believe that I have a third eye now. And I said, well, you do. So you can see things so much clearer now. And when we say that, it's not that they're physically going to have an eye on the forehead. It's literally that they start to see what's coming, being aware of awareness around them and seeing signs so much clearly now, seeing the guidance that's brought in for them. So it's when we start allowing ourselves to surrender as the human being, and that's one of the biggest things is learning to surrender, because it's about that trust, the trust in the divine. When you really allow yourself to trust in the divine, you start getting all these directions put in front of you. You start seeing more signs. You start listening to, people might be speaking behind you or somewhere on the bus or, I don't know, down the road, or you've passed them in a shop and they're saying something and it's very like, wow, I was just thinking that, or I needed to hear the answer to that. You start becoming more of those signs. And when you really start allowing yourself to really surrender, which can be the hardest thing. It's like that being chucked into a crowd and you sort of surf the crowd on your back. That's what like the divine is. It's sort of like handing it all over. Allow yourself to flow. So by being sort of instructed or guided or some sort of support, it's your guides that are supporting you. And when I first started doing this, years ago now, it felt almost sometimes I had someone touching the skin on my face and my cheekbone, or touching my head to say I'm here, but it's literally just being guided. And we tend to see guides, or sometimes, I just said, a little while ago about having to a Buddhist monk and stuff. Sometimes they present themselves as an image, and sometimes I just know from the personality, or I just know from the energy stream around that individual and how it moves me. So it sounds to me that they're helping to move you, to free up parts of you, to have that frequency in your auric field around you, like your bubble of energy around you. And that's why it's so important that when we go out and about, or when we're meeting individuals that we might not know, or or there's complete strangers around us, that we are, I just love that, caretaker. We are a caretaker to our energy. We become a caretaker to our energy around our bodies, to check in with how we feel, to check in, to sort of, sometimes if you're walking and if you're, you're checking in with your energy. Sometimes you can feel if someone's walking too close behind you. It means you're aware of them. You've become aware of so much of your own energy stream that you're aware then that someone is walking behind you. It's when the worry, not the worry, I wouldn't say worry, but I suppose if you're not aware of your own energy stream and then someone does come up behind you, there is then a little bit of a, well, maybe you could have picked that up earlier. But when you become aware of your auric field around you, and by tuning in more, opening and closing your chakras, this is how I do it, opening and closing chakras, and others who, you know, do the spiritual practice, they have their own means and methods. But for me, it's like having, you know, a close sign on the shop of the front door. You're like, okay, I'm closed now, and close all my chakras down, I'm not working, you know. But it's really being aware of your own energy stream. So for you to many stages, there are many steps to this. So it's not just one answer. There are many steps, many stages to you. Just as you move through childhood, babyhood, toddlerhood, you move through teenagerhood, and you keep moving through. There are many stages and many steps to you. So there are many ways of doing this. To connect to your higher self is very much to do with the fact that, yes, aligning yourself in the sense of being aware of your energy systems, being aware of what makes you you. You are more than you just see as in the physical self, the energetic self, the emotional self. There are many layers to you. Okay, thank you. I just bought this. My Russian doll, I often use this, where this is yourself and there's layers of yourself, and you then become the lower part of yourself. Lower part, maybe not. The baby part of yourself, and even going back, fetal, and then going back even further. Okay, thank you. What they're saying is there are many layers to yourself, and it's about learning and feeling comfortable in those layers. What tends to happen is the human gets stuck. The human thinks they just get stuck in the mind and the consciousness and keeps going back to replay everything that's played out in history. Yeah. And so when you get stuck, then you don't tend to move forward, and the human just thinks it's just from the mind. The mind that many of you are confused. It's just not the mind that makes you who you are. There is many other layers to yourself, but only if you allow us to step forward to assist you. So, thank you. By working with your guides, by asking for your guides, by using different techniques, you know, you have your tarot cards, you have your, thank you, you have your pendulums to answer questions. There's many signs, there's many techniques, there's many tools. The more tools you learn about, the more things that you can, workshops, courses, whatever it is, by learning more and more the chakra systems, the energy systems, everything that you have, this starts to allow you to become aware of what makes you you, and you start realizing you're not just one layer of yourself, there's more layers to you. Now, higher self is very much of, if we think of in the creation of yourself, that was there from the year dot in a sense, but that's not necessarily true. We cannot explain it so much. But if you think of your higher self, actually your part of your soul was created so that on your journey of yourself, that each time that you came back, that you relearn or you connect to yourself more and more and more. So the work that you do here now by learning about spirituality, by looking at your tarot cards or listening to a psychic medium or doing the pendulum, whatever tools that you use to connect to yourself will help you to gain a better understanding. And by doing so and connecting to your guides, you then start learning that there is this higher self of yourself. So there's parts, it's sort of, how can we explain? There's fractures of it in a sense. So there's many different sides to it. So there's your higher self, which is somewhere totally different. Not totally. Let me see. We only see things on a surface level, okay? And just as I was talking about the energy and how the energy flows and the energy streams, your higher self is there within your energy stream where you are now. But when we say higher self, we think it's up and away, but it's not necessarily. It's part of yourself. It's like a fracture, a skin. Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you. Like they sort of showed me, like a snake skin. When the snake sloughs its skin, when it then starts moving forward, when it starts learning more about itself, it lets go of that layer of skin. It grows. It gets stronger and stronger, bigger and bigger, and it moves on. Now, so that's like another fracture of yourself. The higher self is like another part of you. So you as a human go through different stages. Okay, thank you. They just said there's many layers of skin that you do shed, but not as in whole one as a snake skin. There is many layers that you do shed of yourself. but it's part of you. It's like coming home to yourself. It's like learning. So your higher self is what we say as you go back to your higher self. So when you pass through this lifetime and the many different stages and learning and connecting to yourself, as in with through your guides and learning, then you go back to your soul in a sense. And I remember when I had my accident and the journey with that, it felt very much like when I popped out of myself and when I died for, I think it was 7 minutes now, that I felt as if I was in a library. I felt as if I was being shown scrolls and books, and it was very much like before I even watched Harry Potter films, it was crazy. Like the books that would open off the shelf, they sort of came out. No one physically pulled them out. They sort of popped out from a shelf, large book, and it would open up, and there was visions being shown to me. And that was like, it was like almost like a journal that I'd written. My higher self, my soul had written the journal, and I was taking a look into it. So it was showing me things to come. And I remember well that the pages, when they turned, there was things that they were looking back at my life and things how it was connecting. And I remember that even when I was, it was funny to say I was standing there, because it just felt as if I didn't have a floor underneath my feet. It almost felt as if I was hovering there. And I know when, well, I know them to be my guides now, that they were around me and they were like hovering around me too. And they were giving me the information. So it was like being in a movie as such. It was very unreal. And I remember there was a scroll that came out this long tube, and again that was unrolled. It was like almost like an architect that was showing me the architect of my life and how it was going to play out. So that was being dictated by my soul. My higher self had already created that formula that had, you know, to get to Z, I had to go to A, B, C, D, whatever. So your higher self already knows where you're going. And they were saying, and they've said this before, those feelings of the deja vu moments, it's like that crossover of yourself. It's like the breadcrumbs of thinking that, or not thinking necessarily, but seeing like a premonition as such, and then you end up going there. It's almost like your higher self has sent that to you so that you're aware of when you then connect, I'm on the right pathway. So your higher self is trying to bridge the gap, is trying to help you, to guide you to the direction that you need. So we don't want any ascending as yet, because ascending as in ascending off, we don't want you to pass over onto the other side yet as such. But ascending as in here, as in your energy level, yes, you're doing well. So everything that you learn is adding and helping you to get where you need to go to, sort of thing. So everything that you learn, whether it's cards, believing in angels, whatever it is that you learn as an individual, that is really arising and creating that alignment more within you. That's helping you to reach your goals, sort of thing.